Welcome back. This would be the last quadric surface. This quadric surface is called hyperbolic paraboloid. The general equation for these surfaces is the equation z is equal to x squared over a squared minus y squared over b squared. And here I have a computer generated graph of this equation here. This is the equation when I pick a and b to be 1. So let's look at the xz trace. So I obtain the xz trace by deleting the y variable or setting y to 0. So if I set y to 0, I get the equation z is x squared, which is a parabola that is going to open in the positive z direction. So this is a parabola in the xz plane opening in the positive z direction. So that's the xz trace. What's the yz trace? Well, the yz trace would be z is equal to negative y squared. So that's going to be a parabola that opens in the negative z direction in the yz plane. And so now if I look at what are the traces in the planes parallel to the yz plane, well, the traces that are parallel to the yz plane are like this. So that means I'm looking at traces in planes x is equal to k. So remember, x is equal to k would be a plane parallel to the yz plane. So in that plane, what would be the trace? Well, if I set x to k, then I see that z is equal to k squared minus 4 squared would be a parabola that opens downward in the negative z direction in that plane. So I see that traces in planes parallel to the yz plane are falling parabolas. So these are these parabolas that we have. These are the traces in planes x is equal to k. Okay, so that gives us a pretty good idea of about the shape of this surface. So this surface kind of looks like a horse saddle, and the point at the origin is called a saddle point. And the reason it's called a saddle point is because along the xz trace, you see that this is the lowest point of the surface, but along the yz trace, it is actually the highest point. So that's why it's called a saddle point, and the term saddle point will come up later. Okay, so that's all I want to say about this surface. In the next video, we will be looking at the maple commands for drawing these quadric surfaces.